Morning, Trainiacs. Every time I think that I've got my last outdoor bike ride in, I get another one. So for the past couple of years, GoPros have been the camera that we've loved to hate around here. Like, in theory, they're really good, but when you start working with the footage, it's often really murky, super shaky, until this GoPro HERO7 came out and it blew our freaking mind. Yesterday, I did a shot that was so impressive that I think it's at least worth going through. For those of you who haven't seen the multitude of videos out there, we'll do the GoPro HERO5, which is essentially the same as the GoPro HERO6, versus the new GoPro HERO7, and how it relates to how us triathletes tend to use it. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go for a wee little ride. We're gonna go for a wee little run. I will take each GoPro in a couple of the scenarios that you would normally use it for as a triathlete, and I'll show you just how different it is. It is significant. So, all of that footage there was from the GoPro HERO7. Frankly, just because it's much nicer than the GoPro HERO5. But we'll go inside and we'll put them side by side and show you the differences between the 7 and the 5. Also, those babies are sporks. If they're good enough for Lucy Charles, they're good enough for this guy. Coupon code on the bottom to get 10% off some sweet socks. All right, let's go. So we've got, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different types of videos that you'll regularly get from GoPro. As a triathlete, it's typically the same sort of thing over and over. We're mounting it onto a bike, we're setting it in motion and covering a whole bunch of video. We are running with it, getting some selfie. We are pointing it as we are bumping and moving around. We are putting it underwater. So what I'll do here is on the left will be the GoPro 7, on the right will be the GoPro 5. Now what you can see basically instantly is that the GoPro HERO5, it's not as smooth, and that was a ton of the video footage that I've been getting for the past 3 years when I go on the bike. It would be that chat, 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 chat as I'm going over bumps in the road, as we're just going over breaks in the road. The GoPro HERO7 is just smooth as butter. What if you want to be like me and take some selfie videos as you are riding? Again, you can see that with the GoPro 7, much smoother. With the GoPro 5, you get that pop, 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 and like small little hand movements, just doesn't make it look very good. As you put the GoPro up to the wheel, same sort of thing. You don't get that really nice smooth motion with the GoPro HERO5 that you get with the 7. And yeah, look at that, where I was pointing the camera at my crankset, pedaling, and there's just that little bit of chatter with the GoPro 5 that you don't get with the 7. Finally, this last video that we've got to show you how the difference in smoothness is between the two, we have the running selfie that I take a lot of. The running selfie on the 5, it was basically unusable. On the 7, very nice. When I would turn it onto my feet, like if I would point it down, it was, again, it was disorienting with the 5, and then I would turn it off to the side, and oh geez, yeah, this is the first time I've ever seen that it's really nice quality footage. What I would have to do before with the 5 is I would actually, if it were a less important run, I would run with about $100 to $200 or $300 little gimbal for the GoPro 5, and then I'm not really getting a very good run in, or I've got to stuff it in my little sash. It wasn't good. Now, just in the GoPro, it's nice and stabilized. I'll just show one more. If you're about to get up out of the saddle and you're going to move the bars back and forth. Oh, that's so much better. The stabilization in the 7, it shows that I am moving the bars back and forth, but it doesn't give you that disoriented feeling right there. Big fan. And there's one feature that I wanted to use more often in the 5 that I can now use in the 7, and it's the time warp. In the 5, you didn't have the option for a moving time lapse that looked any good, because a time lapse used to be a whole bunch of photos that were stitched together. Because they're taken in different spots, it looks very jagged. Now, with the GoPro Hero 7, they've got what's called the time warp. So I think what they're doing is they're taking a stabilized video and they're turning it into a time lapse and smoothing it out. So with the 5, those moving time lapses were basically unusable and they look super unprofessional. Do it with the 7, you can get a sense of what's around you because it's not just the image quality on the 7. It picks up a little bit more information from the darks. That's dynamic range is what it's called. So that dark areas in your video are actually a little bit lighter. And that was one of the big problems with the 6. The 6 did have a fair bit of stabilization, but as soon as you went into a slightly dark area, you got a huge amount of noise in the video that it was almost unusable. With the 7, you get a fair bit more sharpness. When you would compare the underwater swim footage from the GoPro Hero 7 to the Hero 5, the color science is not that much better. The ability to like really get a nice rich color underwater is not that much better. GoPro underwater footage is like, it's serviceable, it's okay, but that stabilized footage that allows you to clamp a GoPro onto like a lane line, clamp it onto a flutter board, or I even use like my fin and hang it over the edge of the pool deck and stick it in the water. And even though that fin is kind of just going like this and getting little micro vibrations, it's completely stable underwater, whereas the GoPro Hero 5, it wasn't good. You might not have known it. There was a huge amount of the footage that we used from the Ironman video that was from the GoPro that you would have thought was this camera with a gimbal. Now, this isn't the definitive be-all, end-all GoPro Hero 5 versus 7 video. Frankly, there are more and many, many better comparisons with absolutely everything that you could possibly want to know between the GoPro Hero 5 and 7, but they might not necessarily be in the scenarios that a triathlete would use them in, so we do this video. Now, the 6 was a little bit better than the 5. We tried it for about a week, but for the $700 that it was for us, it wasn't significantly better. The 7, very good, and you can see that for the scenarios that a triathlete is going to use them in, much, much better. So, Triathlon Taren, stamp of approval on the GoPro Hero 7. There you go, Trainiacs. If you aren't already subscribed, hit the subscribe button below. If you are subscribed, go get yourself some sporks. Those good socks. Sporks.com, but it's in Espanol when you go there. They're awesome socks. It's all I use. Ooh, there's a scary clown on the website. Okay, maybe don't go there until after Halloween. Later, Trainiacs.